Hello, I'm Sarah Arciniega, and today we will be making a companion page for this one-page layout. Back in the fall, I bought this Cozy Up workshop by Close to My Heart, and I got to work creating some pages right away. I was really caught by the little title that says "Just One More Chapter," because I hear that exact phrase often from my kids as we read books at night. And so I thought it was a great opportunity to document how I love reading to my kids. And so that's what I did. I did this one page and I found this picture that's not the greatest quality. It's just from my cell phone when we're all cuddled up on a bed reading a book a few years ago. And so I did the one page spread, but I didn't have a lot of pictures to put on the other side. And I basically put this to the side and kind of got distracted by some other products as we do, and just didn't think about it. But today I thought, you know what, I could make an interactive layout, and that's what we're going to do. So I picked 6 books that I have some memories attached to. And so I just went on Google and pulled up some images and got those printed at my local photo processing company. And what I put 2 on a 4x6, and so when I cut them in half, I will be left with 3x4s. So I have 6 of those. The photo processing place actually did cut off some of the tops, and so I'm going to have to get them reprinted. But for today, I figured I could just go ahead and get the page laid out and pretty much put together, and then when I get those reprinted, I can just substitute them out because they actually are going to end up in some flip-flaps. And so what I thought, though, once I got that laid out, it did naturally just kind of fall into a grid, but it looks kind of bland next to that other page. And so I decided to use this book border. It looks a lot like the books in the stack on the left page. And so I went ahead and put that at the top. And then I love this little title that says "Good books are like best friends." And it's yellow, and so I felt like it tied in the yellow title on the left page. And so I liked how that all tied together. Later on, I actually go back to and do some lines, some dashes, just like I did around the square on the left side. I go along the border on the right side, and I feel like that ties the pages together, making them a little more cohesive. One other thing I did is I used the same mocha cardstock to make the backgrounds for this page in the 6 different spots. So with all of those laid out, I'm ready to pull in these memory protectors. They're called flip flaps, and this is actually my first time using these. I've watched lots of videos on YouTube of other Close to My Heart makers use them, and they look super fun. So I bought them a few weeks ago, but I hadn't gotten around to playing with them. So this will be my first layout using them. I'm kind of excited. And so the first thing I thought, oh, I'll just go ahead and put them at the top and flip up to show the story underneath the books. But then I realized if I use the other orientation where the strip is along the long side of the rectangle, that I could flip them so it would be like a book. It would open like a book. And I love that idea. So the next thing I did was I sat down on my computer and I journaled. I definitely had an idea of what I wanted to convey in my head. But sometimes when I go to write, I feel like I struggle getting it out on paper. And the thing I've learned, though, as I've journaled throughout the years, is I have to kind of tell that part of my brain that like says, oh, this isn't what you wanted to say exactly, or this isn't good enough. I have to tell it to be quiet sometimes, because I have found that most of the time, whatever I write in 5 years, I'm going to love it. And I'm going to be so glad I took the time to document the memory. So there's my little journaling pep talk. I did use columns, and I did those at 2.75 width so that they would fit well in a 3x4 pocket. So I actually just printed them out on printer paper to kind of play around with how I wanted them placed, and kind of like to just see where I wanted to put some embellishments and things like that. But my next step before I finish the 3x4 cards is adhering my backgrounds as well as adhering the flip flap. So I did use my T-square ruler to make sure that these were straight. I also found that if I put adhesive just on the middle and the right side, it left me room to stick the flip flap adhesive strip down, behind the photo mat. And so that's what I found was effective. And so I went ahead and folded that over and stuck it, like I said, where I didn't put the adhesive. And I go ahead and get the corner placed exactly where I want it and line it up. And I pull just the corner down, make sure everything's still lined up, and then I yank the rest of it down. And the adhesive on these, it's very strong. And there's a reason for that, right? You're going to be interacting with it. And so you want it strong so it doesn't pop off in 2 weeks. But you do have to be very careful as you pull off the protective off the adhesive, because it is a strong adhesive. You don't have a lot of wiggle time and wiggle space. So I get all of those adhered, and I go ahead and stick, the book covers in, and I'm still playing with some placement for the different 3x4 cards. This one, I left room to put a sticker at the bottom, but, or no, sorry, a photo at the bottom. But as I worked with stuff, some ink smudged on it, and so I was like, well, that's when you cover up that little mistake with some paper. And so I put some red cute paper that's from this kit on the bottom, and then I will place the little photo on that, and adding a sticker as well as some heart stickers. Those are all from the sticker sheet. So this is ready to be adhered to the Mocha backgrounds. The Mocha backgrounds are 3.25 by 4.25, and it just left a cute border around the 3x4 cards. And then even when the flip flap is closed, you do see some brown. Hindsight, I might go just a teeny bit bigger, just so that there's some more brown, when it is closed. You can barely see it, but I do actually kind of like the look as well. So here I use the book border again. You won't see it when all the book covers are closed, but I like the way that it tied into, the book theme. And so I thought I would take this opportunity to get some good suggestions. Do you have books that you have loved reading to your children or grandchildren? Or maybe if you're a teacher or your classroom. I have so many books that I have loved reading to kids, or just even to myself, really. And I love documenting them. I think it's a worthwhile project to document the books. I know some people even do like reading journals and stuff like that, but I thought this was such a fun, interactive way to document what we read because of the way it shapes our lives. Please share any recommendations you do have, or ones that you just have loved and have good memories with, down in the comments below. So I'm finishing up these 3x4 cards. I basically used every reading sticker that was on the sticker sheet. The sticker sheet actually, because it is a cozy up theme, it also has like the fall theme as well as like fuzzy socks and a little teapot and things like that. So I really pulled off all of the book stuff and used it. But there were so many little word bits, and like I said, I reused the book border several times. Another benefit of flip flaps is actually those photos that are maybe not the most flattering of you, but still have a memory attached. You can put them in the back of the flip flap. And so that picture there, it's a great memory of reading with my kids, but it's not my favorite picture of me. I would go ahead and put it in the front too, but that, like I said, is a side benefit of flip flaps. So there were a few spots that I didn't have as much to say. And so what I chose to do there, there were actually 3 of them. And so in 2 of the spots, I actually just made a list of other books that we've read together that I didn't feature. And so that was kind of a fun way to, document those. And then in the third one, it was just decorative. There was a cute banner on the sticker sheet, and I just used that. And at this point, I had pulled all the heart stickers off of the sticker sheet. And so the workshop kit came with these cute little dots. There's stars, circles, and hearts on them. And I love these because I actually don't love a lot of dimension in my scrapbooks. But these are just enough. Like, they're real thin. And I love it because you do get a little dimension, but not the bulk. And so these are a great addition, and they have the hearts in different sizes, and I use some stars. They are fun to kind of just scatter around. I also wanted to point out, I don't know if you noticed before I taped the little brown dovetail piece on, that the back of that actually says Project 1. And that's a nice thing about these kits too, is that everything from the kits, the little punch outs, they're all labeled. And so I knew exactly what ones I could use without disrupting the rest of the kit. So I thought I would do a final walkthrough of all the little mini books. and I would read some of my journaling. So the first little story says, reading has always been a part of our bedtime routine. Starting at a very young age, Dad or myself read you several picture books each night. One night, it was my turn to read to you. We were laying on your bed as we read There Is a Bird on Your Head by Mo Willems. It was a new book to us. You giggled and giggled every time Gerald asked about having a bird on his head. You laughed even harder when he ended up with hatching eggs on his head, and then as the birds flew to Piggy's head. I couldn't help but join your laughter. Being cuddled in your bed and listening to your cute belly laugh will remain one of my favorite moments with you. The next book is an animal encyclopedia, and it was actually part of our homeschool curriculum from when we homeschooled, and that kid loved that book. He carried it around, took it on vacation. He would like write down, like copy sentences and words out of it and draw the pictures. He just really loved that book. The next book was a flashback to my childhood. It was Pee Wee Scouts, and I will read the journaling for that one. I said, I remember loving the series Pee Wee Scouts when I was a kid. To make early chapter books less daunting, you and I often took turns reading pages. I introduced you to the Pee Wee Scouts books, and once again your laughter was infectious. When the young girl makes cookies on her own and adds a gravy mix and some soda pop along with some other random ingredients, we thought it was the funniest thing. We laughed and laughed. Afterwards, it was brought up every time we made cookies, and the laughter would commence. So just to be real here for a minute, he actually has a pattern that I wanted to document as well. So anytime that we start a new book, or I shouldn't say anytime, but oftentimes when we start new books, he grumbles. He doesn't like getting into a new book. And so he often thinks that he doesn't like that book. And so that's what I shared about that other book and shared some moments that came from that. My last part, I just said, as your mom, I have loved and continue to love getting to read to you. I value the laughter we have shared and the deep conversations. I love that reading is such a huge part of our family culture. Thanks for sticking around. I hope that you enjoyed this process and feel inspired to document what you have been reading. Please like or subscribe, and don't forget to leave those book suggestions in the comments. And I hope that you have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we'll catch you next time.